So if a patient comes to you and asks for sleeping pills because they struggle with insomnia, either they struggle falling asleep or they wake up in the night and they can't go back to sleep, how would you approach that patient? Would you look at the general stress load always when someone's struggling with insomnia?
We quickly talked about functional medicine last time. So I see insomnia as a symptom. It's not a disease. It's not a diagnosis. It's not something you can label somebody with. And it will be different for every person. So I need to go and say, why is this person not sleeping? And then you play medical detective, and that is fun. That is fun. Instead of reaching for your prescription pad and
sleeping pill, here we go, which is a huge issue.
It is
a huge issue with addiction.
The problem with the sleeping pill is this: you have 4 stages of sleep, and you have to go through all 4 stages to have a good night's rest. Most pills put you to sleep almost anesthetically wise. It just blocks your sleep, your activity in the brain. So people wake up and they're still tired. They don't have the normal physiological reaction. So that's for me quite important. But you can have people who don't fall asleep because they sit and watch TV till a few hours before.
I think there's a term for that, something like sleep hygiene.
Sleep hygiene, beautiful. One can go and Google sleep hygiene and look at all the different things. Not have coffee too late.
Even meal, shouldn't have your meal after 6 if you're struggling with sleep issues.
At least 3 hours before you go to bed after your meal, because you need to have a clean gut by the time, and not clean, you need to have digested your food, because digestion takes a lot of energy. You need your energy while you're sleeping to clean up and restore.
Talk to me about
repair.
that, because it's fascinating how every organ has a different time that it starts functioning.
Yeah. Nighttime is your restore and repair and replenish and rebuild time.
It's like 4 hours.
Lots of hours, yeah.
Easy to remember if you've got something like that.
Sorry?
It's easy to remember if you've got the 4 hours.
Well, it's 5. Restore, replenish, replace, rebuild, recharge. And that's your parasympathetic nervous system. The liver needs about 2 to 3 hours, typically about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. That's when it really starts kicking in and doing its detoxification, cleansing.
Sorry, but is that why most people that have had a heavy night of drinking wake up at about 2 o'clock in the morning?
Apparently they also have withdrawal symptoms. You're full of alcohol, you have withdrawal symptoms. That I heard, I'm not sure about it, but that's when the liver is supposed to kick in to do its work. But now it gives time it gives attention to the most important toxin in the body, and that's the alcohol. And it will first do the alcohol, and only then can it start getting to cleansing the rest of the body. It just gets overwhelmed. So you have to give at least 3 hours after you've had a meal before you go to bed. The moment you go to bed on a full body, or not full tummy, your body says, I've got all this nutrition now, what do I do with it? I can't use it because I'm asleep. Make fat out of it, pack it into the liver. That's why we see fatty liver disease. 30 years ago, I didn't see non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Now I see it so often. That liver just cannot function properly, can't detox properly if it's full of fat. And if you don't break down, we even have brain chemicals that we need to break down. So during the day, you produce adrenaline, that's your fight or flight. At night, you need adenosine, that's your sleeping hormone. And you need to calm down this and increase that. And it's a balance, homeostasis. So one of the things that happen when you sit on your tablet, your cell phone, TV, we know about the 2 common rods and cones receptors in the eyes. They've found there's a 3rd receptor, and that reacts on blue light. And blue light is neon lights and all these other things. If you have that into the eye, you're telling your body it's still day. So if you sit in front of the TV or in front of the computer and now you want to go to bed and your body's telling you it's still daylight, it's not going to work.
So your glass
an
of
important part of sleep hygiene.
So a glass of milk is not going to do it.
Banana works. There's some amino acids in that which you use as a precursor to build brain chemicals.
Because people look for natural ways if they don't want to pop a pill, any kind of pill.
Yeah.
So if you're wanting to have something more gentle, would you suggest a homeopathic complex remedy specifically for sleep, anxiety, stress?
There's a beautiful remedy. Can I take this?
Yes.
This is, that's the beauty with homeopathy, is they go and they don't look for symptom relief, they look for the underlying reason. Boron is a French company, and there's a product called sedative PC. What they do is they use homeopathics. We know about valerian and to calm people. It's not in there. What they did is they said, how do I balance the adrenaline that we produce during the day and adenosine we produce at night? How do we bring that back? And how does anxiety and stress and insomnia fit together? Because it's a vicious cycle. If you don't sleep well, we all know if you've had a really bad night, you wake up, you're already irritable and tired, and you get easily upset. So if you wake up and you're tired, you're already irritable and you will get upset easier and you'll get anxious easier. If you go through that, you won't sleep as easy that night. So it's a physiological reaction. Fight or flight, stress and strain, sympathetic, parasympathetic. We talked about that last time. So it's just a sympathetic overstimulation. It's stress on the body not to have had good rest, not to have had all the repair.
I'm in conflict here because I don't like popping pills of any kind, but I do understand that sometimes, I don't like stress all the time either. So you can't choose your environment all the time.
You can choose how you react to it.
That's right. And the thing is, yes, okay, so we reach for a homeopathic complex remedy. Is that something that you would recommend for a short period of time to take that remedy, say 4 hourly over a course of a week while you're dealing with some other stressful situation? Because face it, stress is not going to go away. And I don't want to advocate people popping pills for the rest of their life. So as you rightfully said last time, you look at sleep, you look at environment, you look at nutrition. Sleep hygiene is obviously important, not overusing any kind of screen time. But how would you address the need in us to want a quick fix and have us even a homeopathic remedy then 4 times a day?
I think it's important to actually treat it in the short term, because once you start sleeping better, you'll handle the day better. I totally agree with you. Anything, whether it's herbal or homeopathic or medicine, it shouldn't be necessary to use it chronically.
I think we're missing clever food options.
Clever?
Food options. Because, there's certain things that you can either have as a tea or that you can eat that would calm down this whole stress response. That's another episode.
There are lovely teas. And the answers, all of them are out there in nature. Every single thing. But it is a problem. Nowadays, modern life is a problem. The beauty with sedative, for instance, is you don't take it at night to fall asleep.
Yes.
You take it during the day to handle the acute stress, and you can take it almost like rescue remedy. You can take it hourly until things are better. But when you take it during the day, and because it doesn't put you asleep, at night you will be calmer and fall asleep easier, because you haven't treated the symptom, you've treated the underlying physiological imbalance.
So what makes it quite nice then, if you look at a product like that, for example, I was looking at it earlier, it's for stress, anxiety and sleeplessness. So if you as a mother you're concerned about your child and it's exam time, but you know there are other stresses as well, and you know that the child's not sleeping so well. So instead of going and finding a remedy for every single one of them, would you recommend they take a complex like the sedative PC as an example?
It's the same. It's different physiological reactions to the same underlying problem, and that's the beauty of it. I often talk to other doctors, and because we have a lot of discussions, we've got groups, and they often look for remedies, natural remedies for a problem. And I keep on saying, don't treat, because then it's the same. If you just treat the symptom,
popping a pill for an ill.
Exactly. If you just treat the symptom with, whether it's natural, sure, it's safer and better. But what is the underlying problem? And that's what I said last time. Every time I see a patient, I say, what is going on here? What's the underlying problem? Because if you solve that, it is like magic.
So take an exam-stressed child. So your underlying problem, okay, you have an exam, but it's also got to do with confidence issues, and it's got to do with fear of failure, etc., etc., etc. So it's not just, oh, it's exam time, ahead of time I better go and get, you've got to sit with your child and find out the symptom, but at the same time you're using a homeopathic remedy as a potential acute stress management support tool.
Yeah, okay. Beautiful. Yeah, I must say, generally, I don't get stressed or strained too easily. And I actually enjoyed exams because it was, for me, a nice test of, do I know my work or don't I do my work? And I didn't really do that well. I did okay, but I enjoyed it. And so exam is not necessarily stressful. You get people who really go out and they manage it, and it need not be stress.
Doesn't have
if you're really stressed,
it could be a mindset. You're going to have a lot of very jealous people. We have to.
So what's the end? What can happen? You can't die from them. You can get, maybe not 5% less than what.
Yes.
So what?
It's fear of failure.
Oh, I suppose.
What would you like to leave the viewers with in closing?
I think people need to be more enthusiastic and excited about their symptoms. So if you have a symptom, instead of focusing on that and dwelling on that and making the thing worse, go and say back, oh, that's interesting. What is this body trying to tell me? What's the solution? And obviously, sometimes the solution is really difficult. You're thrown into a situation that you can't handle, but you can change the way you react to that. You can work on that. And that's again the neuroplasticity. You can rewire by focusing on certain things. Actually rewire your brain. I want people to stop focusing on their problems and start focusing on the solution to the problem. Because then it will go away. And that's where you learn and become wiser and stronger and better off. And next time that same problem will not have the same physical reaction. What a bargain.
Absolutely. So lovely to have you. Thank you again for your time.
I really enjoyed it.
I've written all the different topics that we need to still discuss, so please come back.
I hope so. And I'd love to.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.